you? Can I ask you a question though, or ask the group?
Somebody did send it to me, so I felt like it was necessary for us to check it out.
Question. There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
Good,
leadership.
that's a good thing. Women should not be in positions of extreme leadership like presidents.
Oh, she already attractive just by her stance and her statement. Let me see if I can speed this up.
Et cetera, because we're too emotional.
I'm feeling a lot of emotion right now.
Make money. He has to build influence. He has to become a protector, a provider. Women just have that naturally by just having a vagina, as I said.
That's why it's frustrating, because the feminist movement has been all about women acting like they don't have rights and acting like they have it pretty hard in the modern day world. I can't think of a single thing that I don't have that a guy has, or
that
you know,
they only
like,
I would say the
that
one
they
thing I
only
would
have.
say is the safety thing. That's the only thing that I would say, is that women are disadvantaged from, by nature, women are not as physically strong. I mean, you're physically strong, but as physically strong.
I'll take it.
It's great biceps. And men just are. And if you're walking down a dark alley as a woman, you're going to feel some type of way sometimes,
That's
right?
why we need guns.
Well, there you go.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about like the judicial system. When it comes to, let's say, domestic dispute, if a woman calls the police, they automatically show up, arrest the man. This the Duluth model, I think is how you pronounce it. And that's already in place. It's not necessarily like a right or anything, but it's certainly in all of the police departments. Is if feminism is all about equality, why would you automatically arrest a man? When they arrest him, his name is in the newspaper automatically. The fact that a woman can say Jane Doe and she doesn't have to put her name out there, what skin in the game is there?
And there's so many instances of that. I know men personally who have had domestic violence within the relationship with children involved, unfortunately. And the woman attacked the man in front of the child, and he's still, I know 2 instances personally, and he's still fighting to get the child back. That's from the Me Too movement. Congratulations. You guys got that.
It kind of invalidates the women who do come forward and who have faced rape and sexual assault and all of that, because then it kind of turned into a Twitter hashtag.
That's correct.
Where women were like, oh, you know what, I'm going to do it. Like, this seems fun. Like,
For clout,
it's not fun.
I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think the Me Too movement was inherently harmful. It's the Me Too movement when you couple it with something like believe all women. That's when it becomes
and the
inherently
victimization
harmful.
of women who
people.
aren't really victims.
The prompt is, do women have more privileges? We have privileges simply by virtue of being women. We have privileges with affirmative action. We have privileges in family court, and we have privileges as far as being believed and forgiven. That's something that should be acknowledged.
That's correct.
Can I have the disagreeer step forward?
I appreciated the distinction of more versus different privileges.
Hold on, wait. So all of these women are anti-feminists. And the reason why I didn't stop is because there was nothing that they said that I disagreed with. There was nothing that they said that I disagreed with. Every single thing and every single point that them chicks hit was on point. Every single one of them. What have we come to? What in the world? You got this man alpha athlete, and I'm assuming that this guy is going to be on the other side of the fence. I did not hear one thing that they said wrong. Women are inherently protected. The fact that you don't even have to put your real name when it is that you're making an accusation against the man that's doing something that he may or may not be guilty of, right? The idea that you advocate for equal, but you actually don't want equal. You only want equal benefits. You don't want equal repercussions that come along with what that looks like. That the family court system or law enforcement are automatically going to take women's side. That women should not be in certain positions of leadership because they're too emotional as a result of it, and that's just inherently the way that they were built. If we had more women like this, I would actually probably listen to them within these spaces. If we had more women like this on the internet, I would probably listen to them more in these spaces. But neither here nor there. Let's continue.
You can't just use a broad brush and paint the entire debate and say, all right, well, this is men have more than women, that's it. Like women must inherently then have no privileges. That's not how it works. And that's where we start to get into the idea of like intersectionality, where another woman who had a different experience, if it was a trans woman, if it was a woman of color, if it was a woman who...
Well, first of all, ma'am, sir, ma'am, whatever you are, right? Let's be clear. We are talking about, hopefully they're talking about what you were biologically born. Thank you, Isaiah. I appreciate you. What are you biologically born? You can't say oh my God, this world is so messed up. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think that it's the men. I think it's the men. I think it's the men that refuse to stand up, and it's the simps. Let me stop saying men. I think there's a difference between a man and a simp. A man is a person that truly stands on what it is that he stands on, and he's moving in his masculinity unapologetically. A simp is a person that says stuff for the validation of women and will say the wrong thing, obviously knowing that they're wrong, just to be able to get a woman's approval as though she gonna fuck them at the end of the conversation.
We're including trans women into feminism.
And I think we definitely
already.
should.
I don't
Like,
think we should
I don't think
at
we
all.
should.
I think that trans women should not be a part of the feminist movement because a man, just because they, wake up and feel like they can be a woman one day, could come in and then suddenly know what it's like to have a period or know what it's like to have a
Facts.
child. It's
Talk it
anything
to 'em.
from men replacing women in sports to men replacing women on podcasts during Women's Month and when we're talking about women's health, or you've even got biological men who think they're women going to the White House speaking on behalf of all women.
I do have a question for you based on the prompt.
What kind of fucking world are we living in to where the only logical people that's actually having a conversation looks to be white women? The only logical people that are starting to make sense, that support men, that advocate for men, seems to be white women. Now, Anton, you're going to hit a nerve right there. You're going to hit a nerve right there. She said everything, and that's a part of the sentiments of my heart. What is it? What else is there to say? I'll be goddamned if we get a woman, which is one of the reasons why I have a problem in this space in the first place. I'd be goddamned if we get a woman. Reading super chats throughout the show. Thank you. Thank you, louder forth. If we get a woman, which is one of the reasons why I'm having a problem today, that comes in here and tell us what it is that we supposed to do as men. That I'm not a real man if I don't do this. That I'm not a this and I'm not a that. I don't see it. I don't see. You can't tell me that. Nope. That other chick, y'all saying it in the chat. She Nigerian. She Nigerian. Half of y'all don't even like. Listen. Most of these women that's on the internet that's talking this blackity black, you know what they did before it became a black versus white thing? It was a black, foundational black American descendant of slave ADOS. See, I remember, I listened well. It was ADOS against immigrants. Let me beat a dead horse for a second, right? Hey, Sarah Garvey, they didn't even fuck with you. They didn't even like you. I seen black people, and specifically black women in this space, said that we don't fuck with immigrants. I don't care what color you are. They said we don't fuck with you unless you are an American descendant of slaves. They didn't even fuck with Sarah. And then all of a sudden, Sarah became their champion and a hero. Because their enemy of their enemy then became their friend. Their enemy of their enemy. They didn't fuck with him because they actually liked Sarah. They only fucked with him because Sarah was just a chess piece that they were using in order to try to move a bigger piece off the board. How the tables have turned. How the tables have turned. But now, I guess that the only one, maybe this is why the passport bros is, I don't know. I'm just making an observation. Maybe this is why the passport bros are so popular, because the passport bros don't even fuck with these women that's over here. But then you got the women that's saying, yo, we rock with the passport bros, but the passport bros don't even fuck with y'all. Let's continue.
Though, because you've lived in both experiences, at least socially. I'm curious, when you transitioned to male and people started perceiving you as male, like most people did today, what privileges changed for you, or what did you see enter your life that you didn't have before?
Yeah, and that's sort
So that's a biological woman. That's a biological woman based off of her question. They're saying that the person speaking right now is not even a real woman based off of how they were born. Wow.
Sort of where a lot of my beliefs in feminism do lie is because being out into the world as a gay woman was the way I was
Thank
seen.
you, Anton Cates.
Men
I'm reading
treated me
Super Chats and Cash App.
definitely not nearly as well as they did. I was bullied in school. I had people call me slurs, and it seemed like it was because I was threatening to like the male structure that we are in, where it's like male and female. Because I was a female who liked females, I was somehow infringing on that, and so they didn't like me. Things change naturally when you socially transition and are perceived by the world in a different way. When I transitioned,
Look at that. Look at that person right there. This is a wild world that we live in nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are in the end of times. I think that we are at the end of times, y'all. Honestly, I think we are at the end of times.
from being perceived as female to the world to just pretty much passing or blending full-time as male was that I got a lot more respect from other men. People listened to me and took me seriously. In a social passing setting, people aren't going to harass women who are around me if I'm walking with them at night, which is just a benefit I never thought about.
With caveat, actually. So I say that, yes, there are some privileges that women have that men don't, but also there's privileges that men have that women don't. I don't think women are more privileged in our society because I could get a woman pregnant and I could just run away.
They could get you
Well, they
for
can get you
child
for
support.
child support, which they
But
do.
are you saying she can't run
You
away?
could go to jail.
Are you saying
They could
she
take
can't
your
run away
money.
from the pregnancy?
But you
Yeah,
could
but
actually
yes.
physically leave.
Leave.
I
I
know
can
what you're
physically
saying.
leave. At the end of the day, like, I don't see women having more privileges than men because we don't have the same, there's no way to objectively measure it.
Well, and in the scenario that you pointed out, I mean, if a woman was pregnant, she wouldn't be able to get an abortion in most
In some
parts
states,
of the
now,
country.
yes. In some
That's
states, now.
That's a
absolutely
major
true as well.
disadvantage.
You can't get an
Corner case.
abortion, but children can go get a gender change at 12 with a
Feels
parent
like you're
at
very
15
fixated on that.
without consent.
That's
It
not
feels- it
true.
feels like you're very
as
fixated
someone
on
who
that.
went
I know
through
the
it.
laws as well.
I went through this.
I know. In some states you can, and in Thailand you can go at 16 and get your everything cut off.
Guys, it's less than 5%.
I know.
It
It's
doesn't
such a small-
matter.
it's such a small
It doesn't
subset
matter
of the
that
But you
it's
population.
can't. But you can't say that about. It does matter though. When you have a child, you're not a
That's
parent
between
yet.
the parent and the child.
Can I ask you a question though, or ask the group a question? There's more world leaders who are male, and typically I think
Good, and that's a
leadership.
good thing.
I know it's
Well, he
weird
was
coming
talking
from
to
me,
me.
but I do want to know. It doesn't bum you out that it's less likely for a woman to become president?
I don't feel
Why would that be bummed out? Why would that be bummed out? You know, one day I asked my wife, I said, do you miss working like a regular job? And she was like, for what? So I have to go and pay bills? Yo, have y'all ever seen a president from the time that they become president to the time that they leave, especially when they do 2 terms? Look at the before and the after picture just from 8 years of Obama. Whether you agree with his politics or not, I'm going to be reading Super Chats and Cash Apps in a second. Look at the difference between what Obama looked like before he became president and after he became president, or after he got out of the presidency, and tell me that any woman would want to do that job. Why would you want to? Why would you want the stress that's associated with that? Why would a woman be bummed out about being forced to make decisions that men have to make on a daily basis, and then have the life and the balance of what happens in society in your hands and in your palms, or whether or not you're going to send soldiers to war, whether or not you're going to put somebody else's life on the line in order to sacrifice to make it okay for 100 over here, right? Why would a woman want to ever have to deal with the stresses of that? As a man, there is no way in the world that I would ever want my wife to be in a position of stress like that. There is no way that I, as a husband, as a father, there is no way in the world that I would ever advise my daughter or my wife to ever put themselves in a position to where they would ever be subjected to that level of stress. That's insane. What man would ever stand by while they woman go through some stuff like that? You know what that does to her body? You know how that breaks her down? You know how much stress it is just as a man in life in general?
bummed out because I know that if I want to pursue something that I want to do, I have every capability to do it in this country.
I don't feel bummed out. Women should not be in positions of extreme leadership like presidents, et cetera,
Exactly.
because we're too emotional.
I'm
Men are
feeling a lot of
emotional, too.
emotions
Men
right
can be
now.
impulsive.
Very
I'm
much.
not saying that men can't be emotional.
Like we had a
Men are
president,
more
we had a president
logical.
who would literally just
And now
go
we
on
have
Twitter
president
every
whose brain
day,
doesn't
every
work.
second.
Wait, one person so she can hear us.
To be logical and to be sound is not something defined by gender. It's just something defined by your own
The
psychology.
left and right brain, it
That's just
actually
false.
is though.
That's
That's
just
not
false.
false. It's not.
Okay, so who brought the dumb jock on the panel? Who brought the dumb jock on the panel because he got the muscles? I guess they had to find the guy that wear an alpha athlete shirt that get pegged possibly on the panel to say some of the dumbest shit and to be the most uneducated and unintelligent just because he had the muscles. Okay, I see the role that they playing.
Come on, man. Come
It is
on.
not
Really?
false.
Really?
No, your question about leadership, I think, is a very poignant question because a lot of people are asking that. Why don't we see more female presidents? Why don't we see more female CEOs or Fortune 500 companies? And again, it goes back to those gender differences. There will be women who will be exceptions to the generalized rule of what it means to be feminine.
Exactly.
And those women you will see succeed in extreme leadership. But we should also discuss what the conditions of extreme leadership are. We're talking 80-hour work weeks, subscribing yourself to your career and nothing else.
Forgoing family,
and
children.
Psychologically and biologically, women tend to lean in the direction of not making those choices for themselves, while men are highly competitive, they are highly analytical, systematic, they're willing to put in that time and take extreme measures to gain career status.
Exactly.
But in a,
Oh man, she just sounded incredibly sexy with the way that she broke that down. But more importantly, the anomaly does not make the rule. The anomaly does not make the rule. So you can't then take what the anomaly is. That would be like taking a David Goggins and saying all men should be like this. No, most men can be inspired in order to follow the path and the mindset that he had in order to be able to conquer and achieve some of the things that he's been able to achieve. But every man can't be David Goggins. He's the exception, and he's somebody that you can inspire and take inspiration from, but he is not the rule, right? The inherent nature of men, if you look at how we're biologically built, just by default, you cannot, which is one of the reasons why they sitting here complaining about all of the men transitioning over into women's sports. I think we should do it. I think we should do it. I think we should do it. I believe that we should only have one sport for each thing. I'm going to tell you why. It's not because I believe that we should be able to let people identify as whatever it is that they want to identify. Recently, there was a guy that said that I just feel like a woman, and he went over and he crushed women's weightlifting, in which the reason why he did it is because there was a man that was taking hormone treatment and then said that they identified as a woman. And I believe it was like women's bench pressing or something like that, the worldwide record, and went over there and crushed all of the thing. And so that same person that now identifies as a woman complained that a man said he felt like a woman, and then he went over there and he crushed that other person's record, right? But let me tell you why. I think that there should just be one sport, because then we can get rid of the WNBA. Listen, it's one sport. If you able to outdo all of the men, if you're a woman and you're able to outdo all of the men, then you can participate. Otherwise, we can get rid of this failed sport in which the NBA got to put over $10 million a year, and we can stop hearing all of these women advocate for equal pay, considering that they don't generate the same revenue. Then we will be able to get rid of the WNBA. It's the only reason. The only reason that I'm advocating that we only have one sport, and then if we just have basketball, right? And that way we ain't got to look at no more WNBA players out there looking rough with their edges on 10. You know what I'm saying?
in an egalitarian society, it's about having that choice to make that decision.
Yes,
That's what feminism
but we
is about.
do,
It's
but
about
we already
having-
have that choice.
We
If
do have that
I want to go
But
own
it's
my
being-
own company,
it's
I
being
can.
restricted.
Like I said in the beginning, we've all agreed that the beginning of feminism was going in the right
Humanizing
direction.
women,
It
right.
was humanizing women. It was making them equal to men. It was giving us the same opportunities so that we can go vote, so that I can go get a job, so that I can drive a car. Like
She can
there's
run for
other
president if she
countries
wants.
that I know that we weren't talking about other countries, but if you want to talk about feminism, go protect the women who get beat up for driving a car in other countries.
Men are falling behind in society.
I just think, I mean, we have amazing men here today. It's an
Oh,
honor
thank
to be
you.
on this
You
panel
barely
with
know
you
me.
to see this masculine energy. However, I know that men are not able to be men anymore because of the feminists, modern feminist propaganda. I coach men in my practice and they tell me like, I don't even know what I can do on a date anymore. Can I ask a woman out? Am I gonna get in trouble for this now? Like, I really like her. I kind of want to put my hand around her waist, but maybe that's gonna, I'm gonna be all over social media, this kind of thing. And I think men don't have the balls anymore to just stand up and be a man, be dangerous, be fierce.
I want to respond to a lot of what you
Respond,
said.
please.
Does anybody else want?
You make a really interesting point. However, I feel
Why do we keep having a person that has the least ability to be able to speak, that should not be talking the most, keep having a microphone? I don't even want to hear this person no more.
like a lot of the reasons why men can't actively express masculinity in a positive way is because of the patriarchal structures that we have. Part of where I'm coming from with this is I'm trans. So I was born female. Now I present as male. I came out socially and medically transitioned at 18.
Okay.
The feminist movement is what helped me feel empowered enough to be who I am and be a man.
And no disrespect to your process. I know it's a very strenuous thing that you go through, but I see a woman still. I feel feminine energy from you.
That's all right. I
And
totally
so when you
respect
say
that.
you're a man, then it's like, I don't see that.
The way I think about it is more like about individual choice and individual freedom. And if I want to say that I have feminine energy and people view me as masculine or vice versa, then that's their problem, that's not my problem. And for me, that's what feminism is about giving people the choice to act in accordance with however the hell they want to.
But that's a
not
very
how
dangerous
feminism
society.
started. That's
to
not how
say-
feminism started, though. Yeah, we went from, wanting equal rights for women and equality for women, and now it's
Humanizing
kind of
women, right?
humanizing women,
Yes.
making it to where I think we all agree, women now are equal to men, and with like third and fourth wave feminism, especially fourth wave feminism, it's kind of turned into individuality, like you said.
It doesn't take a man to tell me how to be a man. It doesn't take a woman either. I can define myself as a man how I want to. I don't need somebody like Andrew Tate to be like, you're not a man unless you do this. I also don't need a woman to come up and be like, you're not a real man if you don't do this. And it's the same with femininity. I'm not gonna tell you how to be a woman. I don't think another woman should tell you how to be a woman either.
So what would you tell kids?
Yeah, like he has this, you have a daughter. Do
Yeah.
you really want to be guided by the ambiguous, define yourself as however you want to define yourself? And for her mind to be molded and shaped by men who, no disrespect, women who turn themselves into men and then turn themselves back and say there's a
Facts.
lot of dissatisfaction when the root of the problem wasn't the gender, it was everything else.
There's actually
Let's slow
very,
down, though.
very
I
low
feel like-
I
rates
looked at
of
the percentages.
detransitioning, but
I
that's
looked at
neither here nor
percentages.
there.
That's also a minority.
No, don't get offended. They asked one person a question that got a daughter.
It feels like you're bundling a lot of ideas, which makes it hard to respond. But
Well, because there's so much data to support
can you
these.
repeat what's the main question?
Do you
me to
want your
answer?
daughter's mind to be formed and shaped by a society that tells her it's okay to be masculine and to be a man, and that she
Totally.
doesn't need a man, and that it's better off for her to be alone and put her career first and not have children?
I think it's more likely than not that she'll probably follow a more conventional path. If my daughter grows up and she wants to dress like a boy, like great. If she, for whatever reason, is experiencing gender dysphoria, like we would navigate that together. But that
All right, I've seen enough. Honestly, I've seen enough. Because your job as a parent is not to negotiate with your child. Your job as a parent is to guide your child in the direction that they're supposed to go in. This is insane. This is crazy. Which is one of the reasons why everybody should not have kids. Everybody should not have kids. Everybody should not be able to do and say whatever it is that they want to say when they want to say it. You can't negotiate with your child on what it is that you set the standard for. Not negotiating. What do you think this is? My goal is to push you in a direction and give you the insight and information, but push you in a direction that I know as a parent that has navigated this world for the last 40 years, to push you in a direction that you're supposed to go in. And then once you become an adult, you're supposed to stand on the shoulders of what it is that we did good and continue to pass that message along to the people that come after you. When do we start negotiating with children? We gonna navigate that together. No, as long as you live under my roof, you gonna do what the fuck I say, and that's gonna be the end of the conversation. This is not a negotiation. This is not democracy. This is a dictatorship. Please don't make me turn it into North Korea. The fuck is we talking about? Can't stand these people, man.